They are not the part of IIT Bombay alumni, but they are the students. So if you would, they can also introduce themselves. Adrija Ghosh and Rohan Ghosh, they are the class 12 student, and they are also eager to attend this workshop. So they can also introduce themselves also, although they are not part of an IIT Bombay.
Okay, Anupamda, I think it's already 5:05, and we have 30 participants here already, both alums and guests with us. So we can start maybe?
Okay, fine, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, sure. Okay, so to start with, let me first welcome Mr. Devesh Khatu, who is the CEO of IIT Bombay Alumni Association, for the opening address for today's session. Over to you, Devesh.
Thank you, Vidyut. As Vidyut mentioned, I'm the CEO of the Alumni Association, which is a separate body from IIT Bombay. It's a Section 8 nonprofit, and our goal is to connect alumni to each other and to the institute. But before that, I'm myself an alumnus of IIT Bombay as well, BTech 1990 CS, and work with the Alumni Association from the campus in Mumbai. Although, of course, right now we're working from home, as are most of us. Just a little bit, a couple of words about the Alumni Association. Most of you probably already know about it, but basically we is into many chapters in India and the rest of the world. There are 13 chapters in India and 7 in the rest of the world besides the US. The US itself has about 12 or 13 chapters that are managed by a sister organization there. The chapters typically organize events in the local geographies. Of course, in the last year, because of the pandemic, physical events haven't really been possible. And so all the chapters have moved towards online events. And the Bangalore chapter has adapted wonderfully in this with almost a couple of events every month over the last year. The Buddy Chapter initiative between Bangalore and Kolkata started last year as an offshoot of another initiative that had happened after Cyclone Amphan, which struck eastern India last year. So a bunch of chapters got together to assist with the relief efforts by raising funds from alumni. And so this inter-chapter collaboration evolved into a buddy chapter initiative between the Bengaluru and Kolkata chapters, as all chapters are not the same. The Bengaluru chapter, for example, has over 2,500 alumni in the Bangalore area and a very active organizing committee. And so they felt that they could essentially mentor some of the smaller chapters that were just forming, such as the Kolkata chapter. There were 4 key areas in which the mentorship could help. One is sharing of best practices, then transferring knowledge, having joint activities and events such as this one, and collaboration in new areas. So again, I would like to thank the executive committees of both the Bengaluru and Kolkata chapters for this initiative, and hopefully this will help the Kolkata chapter grow. And we've already seen the results. The last couple of months itself, Kolkata chapter has been having a couple of events local to of interest to people in the Kolkata and Bengal area. Today's event is an event that's of great interest to all of us. As you know, because of the pandemic, we've been all working from home. A lot of us have been because of this. Work has sort of expanded to like a 24/7 thing where you're pretty much working. There's no weekends. You're working 7 days a week often. And then you also have a family at home. Some people have kids. Some people have parents to deal with, which is not something that you've been used to when you were working in the offices. And so all this obviously causes a lot of stress. And then of course, besides the people at home, you're also dealing with a lot of people have been affected by the COVID pandemic personally, by either having friends or relatives who have been affected by the pandemic and even lost some of them in the process. Music can be a great stress reliever, and I won't get too much into the topic because Dr. Banerjee will be talking more about that. But I would like to thank both the Kolkata and Bangalore chapters for this timely event, because this was very much needed for the current circumstances. Finally, before I drop off, I wanted to also remind people that we're having chapter elections right now. The chapters basically are by you and for you. Um, uh, so we had a nomination period in which chapters which had vacancies on the executive committees had people nominate themselves. Unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, the Kolkata chapter already has 9 people on the executive committee from last year, and so they didn't have any elections this year. But there is one position open this year in the Bengaluru chapter, and so please do vote. You should have received an email in the last couple of days with instructions. If you didn't, please contact one of the chapter EC members, and we will make sure that you're set up to vote. Thank you again, Bengaluru and Kolkata chapters, and looking forward to a wonderful event.
Okay, thank you so much, Devesh. I think with this, we are good to start of today's session. And for that, let me welcome the moderator of today's event, Anupam from the Kolkata chapter, to take over for the rest of the event. Over to you, Anupam.
Good evening, everyone. So let me introduce our speaker of today's session, Dr. Chandrima Banerjee. Dr. Chandrima Banerjee has over 25 years of experience in the industry, specialization in organizational development interventions centering around learning and development. She is a PhD, organizational behavior from IIT Bombay, Masters from Industrial Sociology from University of Calcutta, first rank holder, and Bachelor of Arts from Presidency College, Calcutta. DSL Center, Don't Survive, Live, is the brainchild of Chandrima. DSL for the last 8 years is dedicated to the service of the people. Besides conducting high-profile corporate trainings, it deals with providing one-on-one group counseling for people across ages on depression, relationship, career. One of its signatures is providing stress counseling with music therapy, SCMT. This is an immensely popular and contextual subject during and post-lockdown days. A trained singer in Hindustani classical style, Chandrima takes interest in music, performs on stage, uses music as a psycho-spiritual therapy. Chandrima's area of expertise is in transforming human capabilities. She has hands-on experience in high-profile L&D interventions, competency mapping, psychometric evaluation, coaching, and counseling, associated with vast spread of industries across the countries, IT, FMCG, chemicals, plantation, media houses, and other experienced in handling a wide of participants ranging from shop floor workers to company CEOs. So this is all about Chandrima Banerjee. Now I ask our speaker to please take on the stage and deliver your lecture.
Thank you so much. Thank you, the Bengaluru and Kolkata chapter, for taking this initiative. Special thanks to Bidut and I'm just forgetting his name, Utsav and Bidut, for taking so much initiative in the last few days. And thank you very much, Mr. Devesh Khattu. Thank you very much for being present, and immense thanks to you, Anupam. You have always been the initiator of all initiatives rather. See, DSL, as Anupam has already introduced, she's just touched upon. DSL is definitely my brainchild, and I'm excessively passionate about DSL, and it stands for Don't Survive, Live. I repeat again, don't survive, live. Now DSL is just, she's still a toddler, but only 8 years old. You would appreciate because all of you are, highly qualified people and senior people and very, very respected in your own areas of, expertise. Now, you would appreciate that it is not very easy for anybody to, carry out a venture which is philosophically and emotionally loaded, howsoever relevant it might be. It's not very easy to float it and get it accepted by people and make it into a proper you know uh, communication mode. I have been working on it for a very long time now, and I work on it very, very passionately. And I would just request you all just one thing, that even if you forget me, Chandrima Banerjee, even if you forget the topic of today, SCMT or stress counseling with music therapy, just when you go out of this meeting room, please retain with you three letters, not even words, three letters: DSL, which stands for Don't Survive, Live. I would be really, really, glad, and I think it will really make you, make your life a little better. Okay, now let me share my screen and tell you a few words about DSL. Let me tell you, today's talk is divided into three parts. One is just a basic idea about what, why DSL. Otherwise, you will not understand the purpose of my coming up with this topic. Okay. And secondly, we will definitely talk about stress, because that is what is being talked about today, and it's very, very relevant. So what is stress, why stress happens, and what are the what are the things associated with stress. So that is the second part. And the third part is, of course, the stress counseling with music therapy, what it is and why is it relevant. And fourth part would be a little piece of music, because um, when I do it offline, I mean, I speak and I sing, I speak and I sing. But, online has a few restrictions, because it's not very easy to, switch off and on, because I'm not very tech savvy. Of course, we have our beautiful team to, work with us. Still, for the beginning, I have restricted it to a small piece of, recorded music, which is my which I have only recorded. So three, four parts. And last but not the least, the question answer sessions. The questions have already come and I have seen them. Of course, I would try my best to answer your questions also. So first of all, I mean, we will go by progression: what, why DSL, then stress counseling with music therapy, and then a little piece of music, and then the question answer. Okay, then. Sorry, okay, yeah. Sorry, please give me 1 second. There is a small hitch happening. I think I just have to close the screen so that yeah, no. Okay, so as you can see, don't survive, live. It's a self-proclaimed philosophy, but now I'm joined with many people, not exactly as team members, but as associates. And I'm really thankful to the Almighty for that. So this is what DSL looks like. It depicts a swan a swan actually, and a little stylishly photographed, and it is the symbol of a swan. What is the significance of a swan? A swan is an animal which can take milk from water mixed milk and reject the water. So she can take the essence and reject the non-essential. Okay, so that's the significance. Okay. Why DSL? In this era of globalized competitive existence, we have learned best to survive and completely forgotten to live. Let's relearn life, which is the best poetry of existence. I'm sure you all will understand what is the difference between surviving and living. Today, particularly in the pandemic situation, each one of us is much too intensely reminded of our survival. It's a question of life has come to a question of life and death. We are seeing so many deaths, and we are seeing so many, so much of diseased, atmosphere. We know what survival means, but survival alone is not really enough. And I think today we don't have to, explain much about it. We want to get out of this pandemic situation. We want to breathe freely. We want to live freely. We want to do our own things, something that pleases us. And today we are completely chained, and we have forgotten to live. So DSL is there to remind you that survive all right, be competitive all right, but never ever forget to live. And of course, once you start living, surviving becomes much easier. The learning point from DSL, the art and science of meaningful existence. Here you can see a hilly river on which there are rafts or flatboats. These are, they are participants of my discourse. Just like now I'm, talking to you. These managers were also my participants. Okay, and this is a part of an experiential training program, and where I and my colleague were invited to give a lecture on leadership and team building. You can see this raft. All these people are engineers and junior to middle senior managers. Now they were asked to sit on the rafts and take the rafts from one point to the other. And as I told you, they did not have any prior training to that. So all they had to do is sit on the raft, learn the art of sailing it, and then carry the raft from one point to another. Now you can appreciate that it's not very easy. You have to balance your raft very well. And 3-4 people have to sit on a raft in such a manner so that it doesn't topple. And then one or two people rather have to take the lead to sail it, and which also has to be decided instantaneously. And then the activity has to follow on. So the trick is that you do not get drowned by the hilly river, and you do not go against the tide. All the same, you do not allow yourself to get flown by the tide, because you're also controlling your own direction. So this is actually the science and art of meaningful existence. And DSL tries in its own little humble way to give you this, understanding and knowledge to the best extent possible. Now we come to the second point, stress. Is it a reality of life? There is this small module that was designed for you, and just see how you like it. Now, what is good life? Good food, good sleep, good job, happiness. Apparently, Each one of us present here in this meeting room has all of this. Still, we are not really happy. Still, we feel we are not happy. Or, on the other hand, maybe if I ask you one-on-one, do you really have all these four? Probably you would tell me quite a few of you do not sleep well. Quite a few of you do not feel happy deep inside. Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think these two points are where stress is sitting in. Okay, what is happiness? Happiness, of course, it needs to be defined. Happiness is prima facie, it is a state of mind. Please, all of you remember this. It is a state of mind. Even in a dire state of existence, if a person feels happy from within, happy from inside, then he or she is happy. It's a feeling of well-being. It's a feeling of well-being. I'm good, I'm enjoying life, and I'm absolutely fine the way I am. This is happiness. A feeling of being healthy. Again, another very important point today, given the situation of the pandemic. See, the pandemic has hit the world hard. Every other person today either really suffers from a little bit of cough and cold, or mentally suffers from the fear of having a cough and cold, or some kind of weakness. Okay, I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. Now, the feeling of being healthy, once you teach your mind, we shall come to that a little later in a more specific manner. You must teach your mind. You must train your mind, and something that we do not do. Now, once you manage to teach your mind, train your mind, and design it such that it thinks positively, then you would know what a feeling of being healthy is. Even if you have 102 temperature, 102 Fahrenheit of temperature running, still some people would say that I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling all that bad. Maybe I'll have to take a couple of Calpols and then take a little bit of rest, and I should be okay. So this is a feeling of being healthy. I'm sure you get what I say. Now, physically healthy people are more energetic, dynamic, positive, and performing. And mentally healthy people, I'm sure you know what I mean by mentally healthy people. Mentally healthy people are the one who think they are healthy, who think they are, on the top of the world, who think they are, they are the masters of their own fate. Such people are the mentally healthy people. And what are their outcomes? They are also more energetic, they are more dynamic, they are more positive, and they are more performing. So these are, research has proven the facts, and it is just, sharing it with you. Now, what is the deterrent to happiness? Why do we cease to feel happy? Or why we cannot sometimes feel happy? What stops us? This is what stops us. Your state of feeling low. We often feel low in the sense that there is no disease, there is no sadness, nothing. But I'm not also feeling energetic. I'm not feeling up to the mark. So there are many young people also, many of my counselees, many of my students, they tell me that, I'm not really feeling up to it. So that is the state of feeling low. Your general apathy towards things. Today, people have forgotten their hobbies. This is the time where you must pursue your hobbies. And if you're passionate about your hobbies, I think, mental health is naturally restored. And hobby should not be, like making friends on the Facebook. All that is fine, but something different from the electronic media also, something that you can pursue on your own. It could be reading books, it could be drawing pictures, it could be, practicing yoga, it could be singing, it could be cooking, it could be gardening, it could be anything. Okay. Now, when you're feeling low, you also do not feel like pursuing your hobbies. So that's a deterrent. Your feeling of being overstretched by work. Today, almost everybody complains about this, particularly after the pandemic, because, you know, everything has transformed into an online process. And practically each, job incumbent today is available online almost all the time. So that is definitely a thing that causes, that is a deterrent to happiness. Feeling of boredom, of course, goes without saying. We are unable to get out of our, home. We are unable to, we are unable to do many things that we enjoy doing in the past. So feeling of boredom is very common. Irritability, all these things, put together would culminate into irritability. You get irritated just for nothing. Anxiety, much too much thinking, much too much about the disease, thinking much too much about the job, thinking much too much about children's future, much too much about the elderly people, much too much about politics, anything. Melancholy. Some people are soft-hearted and they, just kind of retire in a corner, and they just don't feel like, sharing their feelings with anybody, and they feel depressed and melancholic. That's also there. Dull health, state of feeling low, we talked about. Dull health is the same. You have no disease, but you also do not have the energy. So once these things happen to you, yes, you cease to feel happy. Now, is stress all that bad? Is stress all that bad after all? Experts say, researchers say, no, it is not. An optimum amount of stress is actually required, for human beings. Now, see, here they have tried to show a bell-shaped curve. This looks a little, funny. All the same, never mind. See, this is these two small green lines I've drawn. So this portion covers about 68% of the population, which we call the normal distribution, okay, where it is shown this optimum stress is present. Now, low stress, the skewed part, this part is the low stress and this part is the high stress. Now, if your stress is too low, what are the reactions? Boredom and apathy, behaviors, low motivation, careless mistakes, psychological withdrawal, inactivity, performance, low performance, health effects, dull health. Let's say in an office or in a school or in a college, academic institution, if we had no examination or no promotion, would everybody work at the best of their capacity? No, they won't. Each and every person will not work to the best of their capacity if there is no system of examination or promotion. So, this is exactly what depicts or defines low stress. Okay, high stress, too much exams, too much pressure on promotion, too much pressure on performance. What happens then? Exhaustion, anxiety and nervousness, indecisiveness, bad judgment, performance also falls, and health effects, insomnia, sleeplessness, other psychosomatic illnesses. Psyche is mind, soma is body. So there are many, many diseases which are actually psychosomatic. Let's say heart diseases, high pressure, sugar, cholesterol, many asthma. There are many psychosomatic disorders. In fact, today The American Psychiatric Society says almost 99% of our diseases are psychosomatic, which means if you're mentally healthy, even if you have very serious, physical conditions, you can still overcome. We have seen cancer survivors. There are many, many thousands and crores of COVID survivors. There are many, deadly disease survivors. And how do they manage? Because just now I was telling you that they think they can survive, and they train their mind, they program their mind such that, okay, let me get treated and I'll get back to my normal state. Okay. Now let's talk about, so we know what is low stress and we know what is high stress. Now we come to the middle part of it, middle part of the normal distribution. Now, this is actually the normal distribution curve, the 68% of the axis it covers. Now, optimum stress. What is optimum stress? If you have optimum stress, that is, there is enough pressure for promotion and performance, but there is also enough freedom and flexibility. What happens then? Your reactions, you have high energy. Behaviors, you have high motivation, heightened perception, high involvement with your work. Performance is high, and you also have good health conditions. Okay, so a little bit of stress is not actually bad. Now, 68% of values are within one standard deviation. So this is what we were actually talking about. Okay, now we come to the second part of the presentation: stress counseling with music therapy, the cultural face of DSL, which is so much being talked about. This is a little, let me tell you, this part is a little philosophical. So you have to make a shift in your mind. You have to now stop being too much logical, and you try and get on with the flow of the talk. Okay. Say a simple life can be rich beyond measure. Simple life where you have the sunshine, where you have the forest, where you have the water, and somebody is rowing the boat and he's so happy. This is his profession. He just, ferries people from one end to the other. This is a hilly area, which, I was taken there for conducting one of my workshops only. All the pictures shown to you are real time, and they are all, taken from management development programs conducted by DSL. Okay. Now, this is what a simple life can be rich beyond measure. And we have actually lost that simplicity. Poets have rarely used the word balance. Now, Annie Dillard says, how we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. What do we do throughout the day? Now, here, I'm sure there will be too many questions in your minds as to, why are you showing this to us? This is inactivity. And if we cease to, be active, how do we go about it? My point is, you be engrossed in your activities, in your daily chores, whoever is doing whatever. If you're a student, you're doing your bit. If you're a job holder, you're doing your part. If you're a teacher, you're doing your part. If you're a housewife, you're doing your part. All that is fine. But keep some time of the day, particularly, separate for yourself. And then you do what you love doing. Maybe you draw a picture, maybe you read a book, maybe you sit in contemplation. Just sit in meditation, or you sing. Just please yourself and give that space to yourself. Then your mind will be in a position to obey your other commands. Mind is actually a child. and we program our own minds. And often we forget that we are the masters of our minds. We follow, whatever the commands are in the environment. Somebody is telling you to go to bazaar, you rush. Somebody is telling you, Papa or Mama, please help me with my homework. You rush to that. Your parents are telling you, could you bring me a cup of tea? You rush to that. What happens in the process? In a 24-hour cycle, we often see that we are rushing here and there, everywhere, trying to please everyone, wife, boss, children, parent, everybody, friends. But we ourselves are very unhappy. And we are not sure whether we have made others happy too. This is because we do not know the mantra of happiness. We do not know the fact that for obeying our commands, our mind has to be rested. It has to be restful. It has to be relaxed. A student who has a relaxed and composed mind performs much, much better in exams. Now, how do you relax your mind? That is the technique, and that is the knowledge. Okay. The inner wholeness, another beautiful concept. The art of inner wholeness, Palmer, is what we strive for. Each one of us is striving for it. Each one of us, the inner wholeness. We need a glorious meditation in solitude. We need to get away from the noisy environment. Noisy not just outside, but noisy inside. Inside our mind, there are too many questions, too many doubts, too many restless thoughts for which we have no answer. But our mind rushes to that. Now we just have to transcend over it, get to this glorious meditation and solitude, and then we would know what we mean by a relaxed mind, calming your mind, having a meditative mind, and we would know what DSL is actually all about. Now we come to music therapy, the cultural piece of DSL. Today, it is a known and recognized fact that music or melody works wonders on stressed minds. Let me tell you, here are stressed minds, but it actually works wonders on every mind. And mark the word music or melody. There has been questions. I'll take the questions later, as I told you. Now, melody is something that is magical. Melody is a gift of the Almighty to the human race. And pure melody has a beautiful calming effect on every mind. Okay. DSL Center offers special programs based on music to heal stressed victims, depressives, stress victims. There are different kinds of stress victims like depressives, relationship-related melancholics, career anxious people, retired professionals, and many, many others. I've just mentioned a few categories. Now, music is a universal healer when applied with efficacy and precision. DSL has proven this by the blessings of the Almighty. Music therapy continued the cultural piece of DSL. Besides the above that come under positive psychology, DSL treats neurotic and psychotic patients too, which means, very severely, intensely, intensely psychiatric patients actually. So autistic children, cancer patients, patients with brain and nerve disorders and injuries. They also have been treated with music. By public demand, DSL also offers a tutorial course named SCMT, the same name as today, as today's session. Stress counseling with music therapy. where students learn to heal their own stress and also help other stress victims. And let me tell you, there are 2-3 parts to it, this SCMT course. Of course, pure music is taught to them. Philosophy is taught. Organizational behavior and psychology is taught. So it's a combination of all of them. And it is by God's grace, it's generating a lot of interest among all sections of people today. Now, why music? Music is an eternal bliss, which makes any living being feel good, stress-free, and move towards self-actualization. Music, once admitted to the soul, becomes a part of the spirit which never dies. It is like the moonlight of a gloomy night. Music releases us from the tyranny of conscious thoughts. You know what I mean? The tyranny of conscious thoughts. Our mind today, the logical mind, is actually dictated by too many conscious thoughts. We have forgotten to release our mind of, its chain of thoughts. Music does that magic. Life may not be the one you hoped for. Life is like an hourglass. Eventually, everything hits the bottom. All you have to do is wait until you transform yourself and turn it around. Exactly thereon, you transcend surviving and start living. Now, I would request you all to, I have said, sing along. Yes, of course, I make all my counselees and all my students sing along with me, because just listening to music is not really enough. You have to sing. You don't have to be a trained singer, not necessary, but sing for your own joy. That is very, very essential. Here, before I play the small music clip, let me tell you, uh, once I start playing the clip, you will see it starts with an Om. Okay. Now, there has been many questions. Now, like, I'm very anxious and I'm very angry. Can I get rid of anger if I go for music therapy? How can I make my mind stress free? As I was trying to tell you all the while, that you are the person who controls your own mind. Nobody else can get in here or get into your heart and control you. You are the one who controls. The only thing is that you do not know the method by which you reach your mind. Now here comes a very beautiful yogic, practice. You control your breath. You control your breath. I'm sure many of you would be doing some yoga abhyas, which is some asanas, but a very, very basic asana or a very basic, yogic kriya would be the practice of inhaling and exhaling. I'm not even giving you this thing of course, Anulom, Vilom, and Kumbha. These three things. Even the basics of these three, if one masters, it is a proven fact today that to a great extent you will be able to control your thoughts. You will be able to control, you will be able to control your emotions, and you will be able to control the activities that you're doing throughout the day or beyond. Okay. Now, how do you do that? You all know today, the YouTube is full of, tutorials. Still, since we are discussing, let me tell you and let me show you a very basic technique. a very basic technique, which was actually taught to me by my singing Guruji. When I was in IIT Bombay, I used to learn from Begum Parveen Sultana Khan and her husband Ustad Dilshad Khan. Okay, and I used to learn music, pure classical music, and Dilshad ji, my Guruji, told me how to hold the breath longer. And for that, he had given me a very scientific formula. Today, I have learned the name of, that kriya. It is called Anulom and Vilom and Kumbha. Now, what he told me is, remember the ratio, Chandrima. It is 1:4:2. I repeat, 1:4:2. What is this ratio? You inhale from your left nostril. Let's say you count 10. Then you hold your nostrils. You count 40. Then you exhale from your right nostril and you count 20. 1:4:2. Let me show you this. This is 1. And then again, a very basic kriya. Of course, if you have never ever done it, maybe 1:4:2 could be a little challenging for you. You could also do the same, inhale from your left nostril, hold for a while, and then exhale from your right. Okay. If you could do this a few times, okay, it definitely comes your mind. I mean, it produces some kind of a result. But of course, you have to believe in it in order to, in order to make it effective. Okay. Now, in my own discourse, I have combined this action with music. Let's say you just take a very deep breath. Here, when you're practicing music, you are not doing the inhalation and exhalation process. It happens on its own because music itself is a pranayama. Okay, so we just take a deep breath like this, and please remember that none of the breathing exercises need to be done in a half, like no need. Very, very softly, gently. Very, very softly, gently, but deeply.
Chandrima
Okay?
ji, I think we are not able to see because the screen is shared. So maybe you stop sharing this.
Oh, no. Oh, you're not able to see me.
No, the screen is shown. So maybe you can
Oh, the screen is
stop
shown.
presenting. Stops presenting. Maybe then you can.
Okay, stop presenting. Okay. I'm so sorry. Okay, stop presenting. But can you see me now? Can you see me now?
Yes.
Okay. So do I show you the?
Yes, we can see you.
Do I show you what I just told you? Do I show you once again? It will take just 2 minutes or so. Let me show you this. So
Sure.
this is on, okay? And when I combine it with music, you just take a deep inhalation, and just chant Om. As it is shown in the next video, try and chant Om with this video of mine. Okay, let me share it with you. This has to be stop sharing again. जिनका इस दुनिया की चढ़ती ढलती धूप को किसने बांधा रंग पे किसने पहरे डारी रूप को किसने बांधा काहे जतन करे मन रे तो काहे ना धीर धरे निर्मोही मोह न जाने जिनका मोह करे। So with that we come to the end of the presentation, and now over to you. And then of course we would, yeah, I would definitely take your question answers. And before that, over to Anupam, and then maybe Devish Khattuji, and of course Devashish Da is there. So you please take your turns, and yeah, please. So I mute myself. Huh?
Thank you, Dr. Chandrima. It was really an enlightening talk at this pandemic situation. So first, what we'll go, as we are short of the time, we would take some questions which has the registered participant have put in. So we would go some 1 and 2, 3 questions, and then we will take the questions from the audiences.
Okay.
Fine.
Okay, sure.
So one of the very relevant questions that, is there any particular genre that is more therapeutic as compared to other genres of music?
Yeah. Particular genres, of course, Hindustani classical I personally recommend because it deals with pure melody. Okay, see the small musical piece that was just played to you, it has a particular melodic component and a particular melodic flow. Okay, and which is actually which is very soothing, and it's very difficult to prove scientifically, but I'm sure yes, scientifically also it can be proven. Melody actually works on your nerves. Melody, when presented in its purest form, it works on your nerves, and that is how it works on your mind. And particular genre, yes, I would say Hindustani classical music, the way it is, the way it is played, the way it is taught, the way it has been restored, so take a particular raga. It could be Yaman, it could be Malkos, it could be Darbari Kannada, it could be Bhairav, it could be Jogya, it could be any. But you just have to concentrate on the basic notes and sing it, exactly like a yogic practice, as I tried to show you, in long notes. Okay, then that creates happy vibrations or happy emotions within yourself, and it alleviates your stress. So that is probably okay. Emma, within the Hindustani classical system also, there are many aspects, like tabla also is played very fast, like jhala, like jod, gat, jhala. Okay, that has its own value, and that has its own maza, as they say, its own fun. But when we talk about transforming our minds, to my perception, the best would be the melodic part and long melodic part. about. That is where your emotions get comfort, and you can actually draw a lot of energy from that music. Have I answered you?
Yes, thank you. Just another one more question, which is much more relevant to this scenario. Uh, how to relax our minds after hearing everyday deaths of nearby relatives and friends during this situation?
Hmm. 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 See, you have to train your mind. I was trying to say the same thing. You have to train your mind. You have to tell your mind that, see, think good, think positive about everything around you, but also appreciate that there are many things which are not, or rather most of the things that are not within your control, over which you have absolutely no control. So whatever is beyond your control, stop fretting about it, that is being sad about it, stop questioning it, and stop getting affected. On the contrary, pray for the departed souls, pray for the diseased souls, pray for everybody who is a victim, and your prayers are actually answered. Now I'm talking philosophy. Prayers are actually answered if you can pray with deep mind. Your prayers are answered. So I mean, do not let yourself be affected by things that are beyond your control. So that is how you can, within the pandemic situation also, in the midst of too many disruptions also, you can still keep yourself calm and composed.
Thank you. And I would go for the last questions from the registered participant.
Okay.
How is music therapy different from mantras? Both are sound based. However, the frequencies of both are different. Kindly touch upon the effectiveness of one over the other.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Very good question. Yeah, mantras are also, I mean, those are power words. And music is mantra plus melody, you know. So uh, music has its own language, but of course when we say music, all human beings, I mean vocal music always has words also. The words become much more powerful when it is mixed with melody. Okay. And melodies are of course different frequencies, and different frequencies have different I mean have a great influence on your brain cells, and of course I mean so many hertz, and I mean I'm not binaural beats, and I'm not getting into that because that's not really where I want to touch upon. But it is a proven fact that melody, music therapy today is a recognized source of healing. Recognized, not to say that we are we are disregarding every other form of healing and just saying that music alone is, no, it is not. It is an extra aid. It is an extra um, you know tool which helps your healing. So how mantra and music, I would say mantras of course have their own power, and when it is mixed with music it has more power because the power of melody is mixed with the words. So definitely it's more powerful.
Thank you. Now I would open the platform to the live audiences. So if you're eager to ask any question to Dr. Chandrima Banerjee, you have right to ask now. But remember, we would just take 2 to 3 questions because of the time limit. So anyone who would be asking
Yeah, I'm
question?
trying to unmute all, ask all to unmute. So maybe people can put that on OK and then maybe ask one questions if any.
But sir, I did not get you. What did you say?
So who is mute? Everyone, like people who are mute. So there's an option. I will like ask them to unmute themselves, and then they can ask the questions. So they
Oh
will
yeah,
have a
sure.
pop up.
Absolutely.
They will have a pop up
Oh
on
yeah.
this, and then they can talk about that.
Yeah, sure.
I think anyone who is like muted now, please try to unmute yourself and talk. Yeah.
Or maybe Anupamda, if we have some more questions from the registration list, we can take them meanwhile.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, sure. Why not? Why
Okay,
not?
fine.
Yes.
So I would take last questions from the registered participant, which is also relevant to my life also. How to reduce anger, which is it has become a very short of a common thing in my mind right now.
Okay. Um, whenever you are angry with whosoever, let's say on a platform like this, somebody has, I have insulted you, okay? And you are feeling very, very angry. Now, what do? You just mute yourself, mute your video, mute your audio, leave the room, okay? Leave the room. Take 3-4 deep breaths, like I'm serious when I say this. 3-4 deep breaths. And then just walk around your home. Maybe your son is there, maybe your wife is there, maybe your parents are there, maybe TV is played. Just 2-3 minutes. Distract your mind from the stress situation. 2-3 minutes, you glance at at them or at the TV, come back. Come back. Now you take, just tell your mind, be patient. I will do something about it, but let me first cool down. Now you take a piece of pen and paper and just write 3-4 lines as to why are you feeling angry and what you want to do about it. Okay? Make your hands do that. Make your mind obey your orders. Okay? Write it down. And then while writing, you would know what is the correct course of action. Just go by that. You just have to control that very moment. You have to stop. You have to stop participating emotionally. Okay? And leave the scene. And now that we are online, it is much easier. In a proper, physical meeting scenario, it is more difficult. Let's say it happens, unfortunately, with one of your family members. What do? You just keep your mouth shut. Again, leave the room. Let the other person shout at you, say whatever. Go to the next room or just take a walk and come back. And then you take a pen and paper, write down, then react. People may laugh at you, let them laugh at you. Let them laugh at you. But it is much better than, taking a course of action in anger, which could be very, very damaging. In Bengali, there is a proverb which says, spoken words and an arrow shot, spoken words and arrow, one shot, they can never come back, so one has to be very, very careful with one's words, okay? And that is exactly where most of the damage is done. And of course, today we have a modern theory that, of course, I mean, in very intimate relationships, there are moments of tantrums, there are moments of this and that. It only intensifies your intensity. No, all rubbish, all rubbish. Please don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. I myself am a hypersensitive person. HSP, they call it in OB and psychology. I myself am hypersensitive. If somebody talks, very badly, I mean, it stays on my mind. I cannot forget it much too easily. But of course, I cannot react also. That's also bad. But the the point is that anything told once cannot be taken back very easily. So before you speak, think, frame, speak. Speak consciously. Do not let your anger take over you. Okay?
Thank you, Dr. Chandrima Banerjee. It was a good suggestion. Surely I would try, and the listeners who have the similar problems would also surely try. It will really help you a lot at this point. So I have come to the close of this session. So I request all of the registered participants in the chat box, it is written a feedback form. So kindly fill up this feedback form, because in that feedback form, there's an exercise to understand your mind situation. So which would be helpful by Dr. Chandrima Banerjee can help out what is the stress condition of your mind. So thank you, Dr. Chandrima Banerjee. So now I proceed to the vote of thanks.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, on behalf of IIT Bombay, Alumni Association Kolkata and Bengaluru chapter, as a part of Body Chapter Initiative, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Chandrima Banerjee, for gracing your important ideas about life, how to manage our stress using music therapy. You have indeed a very melodious voice. I would like to thank Vidyut for content, for publicity messages, technological support, and Google registration form for this event. Utsav, it was really a cool poster. Deveshji, for your support, IIT Bombay Alumni Association. Gaurav Shinde for publicity, both for Kolkata and Bengaluru chapter. We would also like to thank Divyam Goel, CEO Attend-U, for being our tech partner as enabling us to organize this event on a Zoom platform. I would also like to thank all the participants for being a part of this event. It has been a great pleasure to all to have you in this session, and hope similar such activities would continue as a part of Body Chapter Initiative. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I am overwhelmed. Yeah, Biddut, please.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the session. I think before closing, can I request everyone, if possible, to come on video? We can take a quick group pic, a virtual group pic on Zoom. Okay, great. I can see a lot of them coming up on video. It would be great if the others can also try to quickly switch on their video for 4 or 5 seconds. We'll take a quick snap. Okay, Utsav, can you take a picture? Okay, I can see other people coming up on video.
Other people are also coming.
Yes,
So
we
Just
will have
come.
5 seconds, just 5 to 10
Please.
seconds.
Just
Allow
1 minute.
people to come on video. Okay, great. Awesome. I can see we have
Everybody is there.
coming on video. Great.
Yes.
Adrija.
Yep.
Okay.
Aruna, Smita. Smita, please come.
Smita, Adrija, Aruna, Anumeha, if at all it is
Smita,
possible,
Adrija, Aruna,
comfortable to switch on your videos,
Anumela.
we request you to.
Adrija and Rohan, you can also come on the video.
Yeah.
They're coming. Shall I take or?
Adrija, Aruna, and Smita. These three left. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Aruna and Smita. Okay. Thank you, Rohan. Aruna and Smita, please.
Okay. Utsav, you are taking the pictures, right?
I've taken. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Complete. We have taken a snap.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot. I think it was a wonderful session. Thank you, Chandrimati, for that insightful session. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you. All the best.